Most dog owners never realize that their pet may have already chosen a single human to trust with their entire life. It's a quiet truth that hides in the routines we barely pay attention to. Sometimes the deepest bonds form without us even noticing how or when they started. And yet, the clues are always there in the way your dog moves around you. Soon you'll see the behaviors that reveal a level of attachment far rarer than people assume. If you'd like to explore moments like this with me, go ahead and subscribe so we can keep discovering together. Number 1. Specific stare. It's strange how a simple moment of eye contact from your dog can feel almost too intimate, isn't it? You might be sitting there minding your own thoughts when you suddenly notice them looking up at you, not with impatience or expectation, but with a softness that feels deeper than words. Dogs aren't built to hold that kind of gaze naturally, so when they choose to, it's like they're letting their guard down, just for you. In that quiet exchange, something shifts. Your breathing slows, their shoulders ease, and for a second, it feels like you're meeting in the same emotional space. That's the kind of moment that gently floods both of you with a sense of connection you don't have to earn or prove. And once you've felt that, you start to recognize how differently they look at you compared to everyone else. Number 2, sleeping with you. You know the feeling. You climb into bed, and before you've even settled, your dog has curled themselves into the curve of your legs like it's the most natural place in the world. At first, it seems like simple comfort, just a dog choosing the warmest spot in the house. But the truth behind it runs much deeper. Out in the wild, they would only sleep beside the ones they trusted with their most vulnerable moments, the ones who made the darkness feel less threatening. When your dog chooses your bed over every other safe place they could rest, they're choosing the person who makes their world feel steady. Your scent wraps around them like a familiar blanket, and your warmth becomes a quiet reminder that they're not alone in the night. And over time, that closeness builds its own kind of silent loyalty, the kind that shows up long before you even understand what it means. Number 3, mirroring your personality. There's something comforting about knowing your dog can pick up pieces of your mood and hand them back to you in their own gentle way. You start to notice it on the slow days, when your energy is low and they seem to settle right beside you as if matching your pace without being asked. Or on the mornings when you feel a little lighter, and suddenly they're trotting around with that quiet spark that feels suspiciously like your own. Dogs don't do this by accident. They're studying you more closely than you realize, watching the way you move, breathe, react, and shift through your day. Somewhere along the way, they begin syncing to the rhythm of your life, turning your worries into their worries, and your calm into their calm, almost like they're trying to stay in tune with the person who anchors them. And the more you notice those tiny echoes, the more you realize how much of their inner world is shaped by simply being close to you. Number 4, knows when you're upset. There's something strangely relieving about knowing your dog can sense your bad days before you ever say a word. They watch you with this quiet focus, almost like they're reading a language you didn't know you were speaking. Long before anyone else notices, your dog is already picking up the shift in your body, the heaviness in your steps, the way your shoulders carry something they didn't carry yesterday. They feel the tension you try to hide, the subtle changes in your tone, even the stillness you fall into when you're overwhelmed. It's not dramatic. They don't need to make a scene. They just move closer, offering the kind of comfort that doesn't try to fix anything, only to sit with you in it. And the moment they rest their head on your knee or press their weight against your side, you feel that small, unspoken promise. They're with you, even in the emotions you don't show aloud. Number 5, always checking in with you. It's easy to overlook how often your dog glances back at you. But have you ever wondered why they do it so consistently? Those quick looks, those subtle pauses before they move too far, are their way of making sure the world still feels safe because you're in it. In unfamiliar places, that instinct becomes even stronger, almost like they're holding on to you with their eyes instead of their paws. They move ahead, then circle back, then move ahead again, a quiet rhythm that says they trust you to be their guide when the environment feels bigger than they are. Sometimes it comes from simple attachment, and other times it's tinged with a little anxiety they haven't figured out how to shake. Especially if being away from you feels heavier for them than it does for most dogs. And every time you reward that check-in with a smile, a touch, or even a soft, "good job," you strengthen a loop that makes them feel seen, understood, and safe enough to keep choosing you as their anchor in every new moment. Number 6. Listening to you, but not others. Most people assume a dog listens the same way to everyone in the family, but you've probably noticed that isn't quite true. There's a different kind of attention they give you, a way they pause just a little longer when your voice cuts through the noise. They read your tone, your posture, even the way you breathe before you speak, as if they're tuned to a frequency the rest of the world doesn't access. Over time, your patterns become familiar ground for them, and your cues start to feel safer, clearer, easier to trust than anyone else. It isn't about authority in the strict sense. It's about the bond you've built in all the small, consistent moments that showed them you mean what you say. And once that trust settles in, you can feel it in the way they respond to your voice with a certainty they rarely give to anyone else. Number 7. Laying in your laundry. There's something almost tender about finding your dog curled up on a pile of your clothes, as if they were searching for a piece of you in the quiet. At first, it seems like a quirky habit, maybe even a little inconvenient, but beneath it is a kind of longing they can't express any other way. Your scent is their reassurance, a familiar signal that the world is still steady even when you're not in the room. When they bury themselves in your shirts or rest their head on a sweater you left behind, they're surrounding themselves with the one thing that makes them feel grounded. It's their way of filling the empty spaces between your footsteps, blending their presence with yours in a way that feels safe and instinctive to them. And in those small, almost hidden moments, you can see just how deeply they've tied their sense of comfort to the simple fact that you exist in their world. Looking back at these moments, you can almost feel the quiet devotion your dog has been carrying around you this whole time. It's reassuring to realize that the relationship you've built with them is already stronger and kinder than you might have believed. And knowing that shifts something inside you, making their familiar gestures feel a little more meaningful. You start noticing the softness in their behavior, the way they reach for you in small ways throughout the day. And from that place of awareness, another layer of the bond begins to reveal itself. Dogs often respond to love in subtle, deeply personal ways, and understanding those signs can change the way you see your connection. If you're ready to explore that part of their world, the next video will take you right to it.